So here we are. It's another day of fun-filled fishing. I invited my son to go fishing this afternoon. I'm out catching some bait, did a cast net review too. Catching some pinfish. The place that we're going to go fishing, before snook season opened, I caught a couple really nice slot snook on pinfish. And I just left the fish completely alone after I caught them because I knew snook season was coming up and I didn't want to really get the snook all stirred up once I found them in this little sweet little honey hole there. And so I've been back to this spot. This will be my 5th trip fishing this area since snook season opened, and I have yet to catch a snook. It's almost as if they were just kind of passing through and they decided to stop in and hang out around the rocks. Maybe the tide's been wrong, maybe they just haven't been hungry. But anyway, me and my son right there, we have high anticipations that we are going to catch some snook. On this particular trip, we caught 65 whiting in about 2.5 hours. So he's a good fisherman. We've been waiting all day for this trip, and so we're heading out to the rocks. Got our circle hooks all set up there and pre-made leaders. We're all rigged, got the bait. The tide's going to be running here probably for about another hour. It's about an hour and a half before sunset. You know, with every cast, we're both anticipating hooking into one of those big snook that we both know are probably laying down there somewhere just because Dad produced a video showing that he caught snook there. So the spot's been proven to hold snook. We just have to hang in there and see if we can catch a few. So, you know, as time passes, we just do a little bit of idle chit-chat there. We talk about fishing things and work things, and I'm sitting here getting irritated with the braid line, wondering why in the world did Ugly Stick ever put that little hook keeper right there for the line to get wrapped around. I think that every time I do that, I'll probably end up cutting it off. My mind has a tendency to wander whenever I'm fishing and not catching anything. Started thinking about the other morning when I hooked into a big jack and he was just ripping drag. That braid line was just singing. That was a fun morning. It was a good catch. As your mind wanders, you're just waiting for that next bite, and then you finally get that bump. You're ready. Come on, take it. There he is. There he is. You set the hook and fish on. You announce to everybody, I've got one. And you're thinking, it's a little one. I was expecting it to be a huge snook. And then if time would freeze for a moment, you'd see your son looking at you like he's looked at you for like 25 years now. Every move that you make, everything that you do, he takes in. And this time you've caught the first fish, and who knows what he's thinking, but he does yell out, "Sweet!" And yeah, it is sweet. It's probably one of the most sweetest moments in the world when you can hang out with your son fishing, you catch fish, and you're having fun. And even if you're not catching fish, you're having fun. As the sun just continues to set, you've got the cool fall air around you and more idle talk, talking about work, talking about girls, talking about fishing, talking about all kinds of stuff. You enjoy the beautiful Southwest Florida sunset. And then, as always, your mind begins to wander. You start thinking about the fish that you've hooked into this week, and some of the fish that you caught, some of the fish that you lost, and start thinking about you'd really like for your son to catch a slot snook. So you say a prayer. God, please, let this be the day that he hooks up with a really, really nice snook, one that he'll never forget catching. And then your mind goes out to the morning whenever you were fishing next to the seawall and you hooked into a gigantic snook and your drag wasn't working. You couldn't get your drag to work, so you had to run down the seawall because he was pulling so hard. and you were trying to keep him from the bridge, and oh my God, you just ripped the hook right out of his lips. And in that moment, you throw your arms up and you just yell. But the following day, you go back and you hook into another snook early in the morning, and this one you manage to catch. But it's not the same one that you lost the morning before. This one's a lot smaller. He hardly pulls at all whenever you hook him, and you realize it's a little dink and he's not going to make the slot size that you've been so desperately trying to catch for about 3 weeks now, since opening night when you caught a slot snook. But in any case, he's fun. You put the tape on him even though you know he's not going to make it, and he's 26 inches. You come back to reality and you notice your son, he's got a fish on, and you're excited for him, but you realize, it's a small one. He announces it's a flounder. And then when you see it, you realize, oh my gosh, that flounder's a lot bigger than my flounder. He's outfished me. You decide to put him on ice, head over to Popeye's and get some chicken before it's time to actually clean the fish. And while you're hanging out at Popeye's, you run into an old friend who tells you about a secret snook fishing spot that only he knows about, and he says he catches slot snook there all the time. And he tells you exactly where it is, how to fish it, and what bait he's fishing with. So you're sitting there at dinner, you start talking about the fish that you've caught and fish that you've lost during the week, and you begin to tell him about how you've been catching grouper like crazy, man, like grouper after grouper after grouper. You're catching them artificial, you're catching them on live bait. It's like everywhere that you go, you seem to be catching grouper. But of course, they're all inshore grouper, and they're never big enough to keep. You get your fish cleaned, and you get a good picture for your son to post on Facebook. You're so proud of him. The close of the day, you're laying in bed and you're reflecting on all of the fun that you had with your son. You're counting your blessings and are so grateful that you're able to fish anytime that you want to, and you live in a beautiful place, and that your kids are healthy and you're healthy and life seems to be good. It's the close of another day. You set the alarm for 6 a.m. so you can get up tomorrow and go hit the water again in hopes of catching that slot snook that you're fishing so hard for.